Welcome back to Wine Down with me, where we drink wine and have a conversation. Today's topic is going to be on emergency funds, saving. Why that's another form of saving, right? And today's wine, it's gonna be Stella Rosa. We already know that's a favorite in this house. And this time it's gonna be blueberry. All right, let's get started, right? There's a lot of questions surrounding emergency funds. When should I have it? How much should I have it in there? Why should I have it? And we're going to explore all those questions. When should you have it? Yesterday. Period. That's the time you should have an emergency fund. Yesterday. How much you should have it? We are going to explore that. Why should you have it? Because, as we said in the previous video, life happens. So what is an emergency fund? So an emergency fund is a cash reserved, and I'm using that word on purpose. It's the money you have reserved, money you have put aside in order to use in the case of an emergency or unplanned financial situations. We all have that. It could be car issues like car repairs. It could be a loss of job. It could be home repairs. It could be anything. It could literally be anything. And you didn't plan for it, and now you have to do it. And that's what we call emergency fund. And sometimes those emergencies tend to put us in debt. We talked about debt before, and we talked about how they gain more interest. However, when we have an emergency fund, we're reducing stress, we're reducing the debt, and we are reducing the unknown. Like you're reducing the unplanned unknown to be able to say, yes, something happened, but I can get myself out of this situation. How much should I have in my emergency fund? Anything helps. I mean, it could be $10, it could be $20, it could be $100, it could be $200. Think about how much like your last emergency cost you, and think about if you had a fraction of that amount, how much would that have helped? Right? So I'm not saying be like, oh, I'm just gonna need $500. No, I'm saying start building one if you haven't built one already, and then continue to add money into the emergency fund, because as we go forward in life happens. However, some people might say put in 3 months, 6 months, a year, right? But if we're living paycheck to paycheck, that could be difficult, and then it sounds very scary. That amount of money, when you look at how much things cost, that amount of money can sound very scary. So I would say maybe create a system where if you can only afford to put $10 in there, put $10 in there. Let it be yourself. If you can afford to put $20 in there, put $20 in there. 30, 40, 50, 100, 1,000, however much you can afford, put that in there, because what tends to happen, it builds up. And then when an emergency happens, then you're not as stressed as before. Another way to put money into an emergency fund, it's when, for example, you get like a lot of money all at once, like during tax season, which we are in. Some of us get refunds. That way, when you get a refund, that's money you were not expecting. It's all coming in at once. Then you can say, okay, I got $1,000. I'm gonna put that in my emergency fund. I got $3,000. I'm gonna put that in my emergency fund. I got $5,000. However much you got, you are going to put that in your emergency fund. Therefore, you have started, right? And then an emergency fund, it's money you don't just touch just because. Oh, I want to go out with my friends. Let me use that money. No. I want to travel. Let me use that money. Absolutely not. What's another thing? I want to buy books, or I want to go buy a section. Let me use that money. No. It is for outplaying events in case of emergency. Let's be honest here. Going to a club is not in case of emergency. You may not have planned it, but it's not an emergency. You can stay home. But it's really for your protection. And then when you use that, then you are able to not dig yourself deeper into debt, for example, or living paycheck to paycheck, because when life happens, you are able to plan ahead. I recently read somewhere that say, when you fail to plan, you are robbing your future you, the future you deserve. And that hit very, very much so. And then it hits most definitely when, in case of emergencies, I look back, for example, on the type of emergency that I have had, and I'm like, if I had a saving, I wouldn't be what I am right now. Or if I had an emergency fund, I wouldn't be what I am right now. Because, like, when you don't have a plan, when you don't have an emergency fund, it can impact you for a long, long time. And that's something we try to avoid, because anything that happens when you don't have that emergency fund, it comes as an emergency. And you continue to get in trouble more and more. However, I will urge that if you don't have an emergency fund, to start putting little by little in there in order to protect you. It's a protection. It's most definitely a protection plan, because life happens. And talk to you guys later. Thank you.